I was peer pressured into now not liking this fit. It gave sleeping bag or my purple bonnet especially as something with Musetti and these Bottega Veneta jackets because he has yet to win a match when he wears one to walk out on the court. I think this is one of Sabalenka's best Nike fits that she's had, period. This is definitely Venus's freakum dress. No one can make this look good in my opinion. This was horrible. From various brands like Wilson, Lululemon, and Nike painting the town red to Venus Williams and Taylor Townsend serving multiple custom looks, the 2025 US Open brought us fashion moments galore. After taking a week to recharge, cut my hair, and digest all the clothing, it's finally time to review all the fashion from this year's most fashion-forward slam, the US Open, of course. What's good? My name is Christian Basnight, and welcome to Christian's Court, where I cover tennis from all angles. If you haven't yet already, make sure you subscribe and click the notification bell so you are notified whenever I post more AG tennis content like this. First, starting out with Nike and the biggest fashion star for Nike, Naomi Osaka. She had two kits that were very interesting to say the least. She first sported this red dress, that's what I'll call it, which she only wore once in her opening round match against Greece Menin. And then the red kit, it came with a detachable ponytail with red rosettes, and her jacket also had crystals and bedazzled Beats headphones. Just before she even unveiled the kit, it was just a lot going on. She also had her red Billie Jean bling Labubu doll. That was one of her 6 Labubu dolls. Both kits had crystallized panels near the neckline and the midsection, and the dress ultimately morphed into a bubble skirt. The red kit had matching red and black shoes, and the purple kit came with some interesting shoes, and it was like a heart with a spiky wing-like frame at the tongue and black flame-like designs on the upper, and there are also Japanese characters paying homage to her Japanese heritage. Being honest, originally I did not like these kits. It looked a little bit childish to me, and it gave something that her daughter Shai might wear. I also didn't care too much for the bottom. It gave sleeping bag or my purple bonnet especially her purple kit, but it grew on me, to be honest. It's something different. It's very camp. And I always appreciate when players go outside the box, especially for a slam. And if you're going to do something wacky and interesting, definitely do it at the US Open. So at first it was an instant miss, but it's grew on me. I saw her wear it like 6 times. So it grew to be a hit for me. I know it might be controversial, but this is a hit look for me. Next is our finalist, men's finalist, Jannik Sinner. He wore the New York Court Dry Fit Advantage Slam tennis polo, and with a similar collar to what he wore at the Australian Open. He went with monochrome here. For the day kit, it was like an orange look from top to bottom, or just for the shirt and shorts. And then for the night kit, he wore midnight / navy colored clothing for his night session kits. It's simple, but I like it. I think the arrow designs coming through the sides elevate the look a little bit more, and extra points too for the shoes matching both the day and night versions of the fits. It's hard for me to choose which one I prefer better, being honest, but I think I'm vibing with the day kit a little bit more. Now, Denis Shapovalov, who actually lost to Sinner in the 3rd round, also wore the New York Court Dry Fit Advantage Slam tank or tennis polo, but he wore it in a turquoise blue color, and I like this color the best out of this shirt. It's just really nice and beautiful, and I think it complements the vibe of the US Open very well. Shapovalov is interesting because he tends to also get his own custom looks, which is an interesting choice, but I mean, he gets some of the best custom looks out of all the players sometimes, so props to him for getting the best looks. And this is definitely one of the best looks I've seen from this US Open on the men's side. Aryna Sabalenka, she wore the New York Court Dry Fit Slam tennis dress, and it reminds me of a few different outfits. First, it's pretty similar to her Roland Garros outfit from this year with the pleated skirt and the cutout in the back, but this dress in particular has a more dramatic wraparound cutout, which was reminiscent of Serena Williams' Wimbledon 2019 dress. And also the day kit color, the white, it reminds me of Maria Sharapova's 2007 US Open kit. I think this is one of Sabalenka's best Nike fits that she's had, period. I also like how she had this metallic jacket, which not only complemented both fits well, but it matched the winner's trophy. I have very little notes, not really any negative notes for this fit, although I would have kept the night shoes that she wore for the day kit too. I think there was no need for her to have two separate shoes, because the pink shoes didn't really do much for me as far as complementing the day kit. Didn't really complement it too much for me, but overall definitely a hit for Sabalenka and Nike. Now our men's champion Carlos Alcaraz we really can expect him to wear short sleeve shirts for the hard court slams from here on out, I feel. And I think he pulls off the look very well. He opted for a pink and purple tank for his day matches, and he wore that for 5 out of his 7 matches played in New York, and it was cool. We saw more of the print and detailing on this one as well in the front with the arrow and then the lines, but I still prefer the night version. The day version, it grew on me a lot, especially because it's just the contrast and also how, the pink of the shirt matched the check mark of his shoe, but still the night version is something special. This purple monochrome look is just so clean, and it's just really sharp from head to toe. And I ordered the jacket too because the jacket looked nice, but Tennis Express counts on my order, unfortunately, so rest in peace to that jacket. But yeah, for sure a hit for the US Open Men's Champion. Holger Rune, he wore the mint green version of the same tank that Carlos wore. I'm not as big of a fan of this color I'm just not as big of a fan. And I also don't think the tank fits Holger all that well, being honest. It seems a little bit baggy and a little bit oversized. Maybe also his short shorts gives it that more of an effect of it looking a little bit more oversized, but I don't care for this look on Holger, being honest. I don't like how his clothes fit him. Next, Amaranta Kanu, the 2021 champion, she wore the New York Court Dry Fit Slam Tennis tank, and she wore the red version of this, and this polyester tank has an interesting design with a mesh V detailing in the front and the back with this burgundy color, and I really love that V cutout in the back too. I think that's different. Emma paired this with the New York Court Dry Fit Slam High Rise Tennis Court in a matching burgundy color. And this 2-tier skirt with the matching rounded hemline gives a unique design for Nike that I think elevates this look even more. This was a really strong look. Anna Kalinskaya opted for the blue version of this fit, which is also nice. And it was reminiscent to me of Maria Sharapova's 2014 Cincinnati fit. Both Emma and Anna's fits are hits for sure. And then our finalist, Amanda Anisimova, she wore the New York Court Dry Fit Slam tennis dress, and it's pretty much the dress version of what Kalinskaya, or the tank that Kalinskaya wore. She wore a light blue version and a dark bluish color. And overall, it's a solid dress. It has a high neckline with a V detailing at the top. And the dress itself is just very detailed, I feel, with the different shade lining on the back with the V and on the sides too. And it also has handkerchief style side panels, which adds a little bit more of an edgy detailing and elevates the look a little bit more, a tad bit more. I think also the red shoes gives a nice contrast to this blue color as well. Comparing the two, I think both looks are fine, but I think I prefer the lighter blue look, to be honest. Nike, they did a good job overall. I'd say definitely the standout looks to me were Sabalenka, Raducanu, Kalinskaya, and then Alcaraz and Shapovalov. But they definitely stepped their cookies up this year. I mean, it wasn't anything too but it was solid overall. I give it a 8.5 out of 10. Next is Adidas, and they had another collection with their Y3 division, which is a collaboration between Adidas and Japanese designer Yoji Yamamoto. Y3 was responsible for those interesting zebra fits that we saw at Roland Garros 10 years ago. And according to Adidas, this 18-piece collection adopts the thematic motifs of Y3's fall and winter 2025 creative direction, including artworks inspired by the Japanese ink techniques of Suibokuga. My apologies for butchering that if I did to my Japanese viewers, which emulates fossilized amber. There are a lot of asymmetrical designs and cutouts in this collection, which makes things a little bit more avant-garde. First, observing Jessica Pegula's look, she wore the woman's Y3 Wow tennis dress, and it's a color they call orbit gray, which is pretty much just white, and it has a high neckline with a quarter zip. There's also a small cutout near the left rib area to, I guess, make it more, like I said, avant-garde. The Japanese ink design makes this not a boring kit, but it's still just not too much special going on here with this look. I don't care for the fit on this for JPEG because she kind of bunched it up in her shorts, which is never a good look, but overall it's a look. I don't feel too strongly about it, to be honest. Felix Auger-Aliassime pretty much wore the men's version of this. He wore the shirt with the Japanese ink design on it, and there's also this asymmetrical type of look on the right sleeve, which adds something with the shirt. It's like an extra line of fabric or something, so that's kind of edgy, I guess. There's nothing much here to think about this look, but I don't really hate it, to be honest. I do think the gold and black shoes elevates the look a little bit more. Alexander Zverev, who lost to FAA in the third round, sported this purple plum look, monochrome look. And the top, it has that similar layering on the right sleeve like Felix's shirt does. And I like this look the most, actually, of the men's for Adidas. It's simple but clean. It's really not too much to hate on about it. I think that the color's not bad. So sure, he gets a hit. Carolina Muhova, she basically wore the women's version of what Zverev wore, but with the just plain tank and shorts. The tank has that single cutout in the back, and she had a tank and shorts for the US Open last year, but I do like this look a lot better because last year's look was pretty boring. It looked like practice clothes, but this, I think this looks more clean. I'll give it a let. Then lastly, Maria Sakkari, she had the most interesting look of all. She wore what Adidas calls a bib skirt with the crop wide tank. This was definitely inspired by like a wrestling singlet, and I thought it was more of a onesie when I saw her in the promo pics, and I was kind of rocking with it. But then it turns out to be like this apron thing, and definitely it is something I have never seen before on a tennis court. I'll give them that, but come on now. This looks ridiculous. I cannot believe this little apron thing is $110 by itself. Then you got to pay an extra $75 for that white tank underneath. That's a definite miss. A resounding miss for me. Like, it's nothing on Maria, but no one can make this look good in my opinion. This was horrible. Adidas gets a 6.5 out of 10. I was underwhelmed. I thought we were going to get pretty much a copy paste from Wimbledon, but in different shades of like light pink or whatever. I think that would have maybe did better than this. Or they could have did it for the US Open lead-up series. I don't know why they let that go to waste. I would have preferred that over whatever we got here. Next, Wilson. They definitely aimed to paint the town red with this US Open collection. Monica Kostyuk, she wore the winning onesie, and it's very similar to the outfit that Victoria Mboko wore. And initially, I thought it was the same exact fit, and I was like, come on now, that's really lazy to have like your two top stars wearing the exact same thing, as both these fits have quarter zips and perforated panels with a cutout or keyhole cutout in the back. But the difference is that Kostyuk's is a onesie with a removable perforated skirt, whereas Mboko's look is an actual dress, no removable skirt, no onesie. And her dress has a pleated skirt, whereas Kostyuk has more of a perforated skirt. And this is the same dress Kostyuk has wore since the Obama administration. But in all seriousness, we first saw this on Kostyuk at Roland Garros 2023, then Wimbledon 2023, then the US Open 2024, and now it's here on Mboko at the US Open 2025. I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. It's still a good look. I think both Kostyuk and Mboko's looks are hits. I just wish they hadn't gone with red, I think, for another hard court slam, as their theme was red for the Australian Open as well this year. I would have liked for them to switch it up, maybe gone with like a blue or something different. Peyton Stearns, she wore the winning Brahmi, and it's basically a crop of Kostyuk's onesie dress. She has that same perforated skirt, and the top of it, like the crop top, is pretty much the same as, the onesie, the dress too. I feel like this is really nothing new. We've seen this look on Peyton before this year, but again, if it's not broke, don't fix it. A hit. And then Alicia Park, she might have my favorite look from Wilson this year at this US Open. She wore the court dress, and it's this sleek and simple dress. I think it looks nice on her. I think I like it the best because it's just something different from the same old, and it's a shame we didn't get to see much of her in this. And then last but not least is Nicolas Jarry, the lone main Wilson man. He sported this red and blue look, very on theme, I think, for the US Open. And I really do like this Game Point Henley, which has a quarter zip and a jacquard stripe pattern. Again, Wilson hits all across the board. They really don't miss, but I think they're starting to wean into being a little bit more repetitive for my liking. So they get a 8 out of 10. Now, probably Wilson's biggest competition as far as tennis brands that rarely, if ever, miss is New Balance. And their main star, Coco Gauff, made a statement before she even unveiled her custom looks. Gauff sported this custom burgundy leather varsity jacket, which I love. And she also had her iconic "I'm really burning so bright right now" quote that she had after winning the 2023 US Open. And I think the quote is fitting considering how these fits themselves were pretty much inspired from that 2023 US Open look. But I do think these fits are elevated versions of what we saw from her in 2023, in my opinion. Her crop top, it has an open back cutout, and she paired it with this off-white micro-pleated miniskirt. Gauff sported orange shoes to top it off. Both these kits are pretty similar, but I do like the day kit a little bit better. It's this darker red top, but both are definite hits. Serrano Cirstea and McCartney Kessler, they both wore the novelty tank and skirt and teal, and this might be my favorite iteration of this kit yet. This is one of the best kits of the entire tournament for sure. I really enjoyed this, again, this teal type of color. I think it works very well with the vibe of the tournament as well as the court colors. No complaints, really no notes at all for this look. And then Tommy Paul, he wore the same teal color as this Cirstea kit, pretty much monochrome, and it's a very similar, the shirt at least is pretty much a carbon copy of his shirt from last year's US Open, except this one isn't as like textured. It's the same quarter zip shirt with stripes, white stripes on the collar. Nothing too special, but again, like with Wilson, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Well, New Balance gets a 9.5 out of 10 for me. They really did their big one here. Next is On Running, and I mean, aside from Wimbledon, for the first time since I don't even know when, we do not have that gradient elf bar type of look, so claps to On for that, for finally changing it up for a slam. They built off their US Open lead-ups. Ben Shelton, he had the same gradient dots as that orchid shirt he wore for the US Open lead-ups, and this tank has a hint of pink on the left side. This is his day kit, by the way. It's okay. I just wish we had a little bit more pink to make it more exciting. On the shorts, we have this spray paint pink stripe design on the right short leg. It looks a little bit off for the day kit version. Being honest, it's just not doing enough for me. Now, I definitely prefer the night version over the day one. I think the colors just blend better together, and the gray part of the short, I think it matches the tank well. Still though, I just wish there was more pink on the sides of this tank. Iga Swiatek, she wore black and white versions of the purple tank she had en route to winning Cincinnati, and there was a pink stripe separating the colors, the color blocking. This is just boring, especially the day kit. It's basically Wimbledon with a black panel on the back. The pink shoes do make it a little bit more interesting, but it's just still kind of a chop for me. They could have did, what's the point of me going in and in? It's the same old story. Now, 16-year-old American Julieta Pareja is one of On's newest signees, and On, they had to sponsor another woman to show off their other pieces because, you know, Iga is just going to keep the same old faithful, which again, no shade to her. I'm just pointing out a fact. And Julieta, she wore the black court crop top and the court side pleated skirt. I think it's a good cut, a solid fit, but I do wish they incorporated more of that design like they did for Ben, or even with Iga. Maybe incorporated more pink. This is like, she could have wore this for a training session. This is nothing really that special. On, they get a 6 out of 10. I'll be favorable to them because they didn't use the same old elf bar gradients, but I'm expecting better for the Australian Open. My expectations are starting to rise. I'll give y'all a little bit of a pass here. Next is Asics, and I believe this is the first time they had dedicated day and night session kits. They really start to push their night energy collection, which was made for their stars to shine under the bright lights. And first, looking at Belinda Bencic, she wore the night energy dress, and I don't care too much for it. Being honest, it does have a unique dragonfly inspired printed design, pretty much as do all the night looks. I do think the pink dress, which Ivelisse wore in her singles match, is the definite star of the women's collection. It's the elevated version of the dress Bencic wore for the other slams. It's pretty much the same as the night energy dress, but the pleats just look better. It's just overall a cleaner look with the lines too, and the different color, like off-white pleat or tan pleat at the bottom. I think this is like a top 2 best Asics look of the year. It is right up there with the APC collection in my eyes. Next is the top-ranked Asics woman, Jasmine Paolini. She wore her dresses in similar colors as Bencic and Lise, but her dresses didn't have pleats. I think Paolini's night energy dress looks good in some shots, but not great in others, to be honest. It's kind of hard to explain. Like, it's something with the fitting of it. It's interesting, but I think the pink version, again, I think I would prefer that because it's overall a little bit cleaner. So that's a hit. The night version or the night energy version is a let for me. Now, the top-ranked Asics man, Alex de Minaur, he got his third little custom shirt with that blue with the streak of neon green coming up through the right, as well as the matching neon wristbands. Comparing it to the other editions we had this year, namely Australian Open and Roland Garros, this is the weakest out of the 3, but it's still fine. It's still solid. Then Lorenzo Musetti, his all-black ensemble was simply iconic. and it's definitely one way to make your Arthur Ashe debut. It's a shame this was his only night match because he got a drubbing from his compatriot Yonex Sinner, because we just saw this killer black Bottega Veneta Intrecciato leather jacket just one time. And it's something with Musetti and these Bottega Veneta jackets, because he has yet to win a match when he wears one to walk out on the court, as he also lost his Wimbledon first round match wearing a white version of this jacket. I don't know if he brings one out for the Australian Open because it's going to be hot there. Maybe if he plays at night, but maybe Roland Garros. I think that'll be his best bet, but that's a definite memorable kit. Asics overall, they did a solid job. I'll give them a 8 out of 10. Now Yonex, initially I was messing with their collection at first, but it's soured on me. I've not been a fan as time has gone by. Elena Rybakina wore the Court Luxe dress, and it's one of the best looks in the collection. It's minimal of that olive green, which I'm not too fond of. I think having it be her undies is a good option. I'm not a fan of that orange rectangle around the quarter zip though, and that was a common theme of this collection, having that orange rectangle. I do like the slits on the bottom as well, the little corner slits or whatever, but it's a fine fit. It's fine. I guess I'll give it a hit. Now, Marketa Vondrousova, the woman who beat Rybakina in the 4th round at the US Open, wore the match Luxe Tank and Ace Motion shorts. The shorts honestly look like a diaper on Vondrousova. They're just too baggy and they're just not fitting. Like, it's too ill-fitting to me. And I think it's overpriced too at $120 retail for some shorts that look like, again, like some swim trunks. Heck no. Linda Noskova, she wore the same thing, but in that all olive color. And actually, I think I like this kit a little bit better because of the coloring of it. I just think it, again, I'm not too sold on the color itself, but it's okay. Casper Ruud, he wore the crew neck shirt, but in this olive green and orange for his night session matches. I don't mind the color too much, again, but the orange rectangle is just a nah. It's just I don't care for it. It did not need to be that big. Daniel Altmaier, he wore the day version of this, which is basically the men's version of Vondrousova's fit. I just don't care for that. I don't care for it too much. I didn't like this Yonex. I'll give it a 5 out of 10. I didn't care for it. Moving on to Lululemon, again, they also painted the town red. Francis Tiafoe, he had this tiger striped ensemble, and a lot of people said that it gave Sabalenka's racket bag. And it's funny because I really loved this fit initially. It was love at first sight when I first saw this. I thought it was edgy. I thought it was like, what is there to hate about it? But maybe I was peer pressured into now not liking this fit. I don't really know what it is. Like, I'm just not a fan of this anymore. I think it's a bit too much with the pattern. He didn't need to do the animal pattern shorts either. He could have just kept it a solid red here like the model wore, but yeah, unfortunately, it's going to be a miss for me. I know some people might disagree. I don't blame you for disagreeing because initially I love the look, but something about it, it's just, I don't care for it no more, really. Leylah Fernandez wore a red 2-piece textured mesh ensemble with a drawstring skirt. It's solid. I think the neckline of the shirt maybe was a little bit too low. It kind of gives like pajamas in a good way. You know what I mean? While the fitting could be better, I'll give it a hit. Then you have Ethan Quinn. He kept it real simple with the UV protective striped mesh tennis t-shirt and their Lulu red. It is simple, but I love the color. So yeah, definitely a hit for me. Lulu gets a 7 out of 10 for me. Unfortunately, Francis's look, it soured and it dropped it a few points for me. Moving on to another L brand, Lacoste, and Novak Djokovic, he made a statement before even unveiling his actual fit. He wore this raincoat with laser cut leather pieces with different colored tennis balls to represent the 4 different majors. Novak thankfully only wore this once. I think that's for the best. This would have been a hit for me if he wore this at Wimbledon or maybe the Australian Open and had like a blue kit, but this doesn't work with the all black fit that he wore, which I think his all black fit is one of the best looks of the entire tournament. This was Novak's first true Darth Joker moment, and it featured a shirt with a clay court inspired central print, and there's also gold detailing on the collars. I also think the shoes enhances it a lot more too and just makes it a true slam winning look. Probably one of Novak's best looks that he's ever wore. I think the day fit is cool too. It's nothing too special, but I do appreciate the color coordination from shirt to toe. And Russian player Polina Kudermetova wore their sleeveless stretch knit tennis polo and ultra dry lined tennis skirt. We have seen a few iterations of this look throughout the season, but this look might be my favorite of all. I think the light blue color is simply lovely, and I think the dark blue with the collar complements it very well. Next is Mizuno, a pretty underrated brand. They served once again, at least with the women. This dress, which Dama Golfi here is wearing, had mesh panels at the chest and the back instead of their like quarter zip collar look that they've been using for the past few majors. They also had a two-tier skirt with this dress with the mesh overlay to give it a little bit more of like a princessy effect, and there's also like a printed effect too on the midsection. And this printed tennis dress is honestly one of the best looks of the tournament, and it's also very affordable at only $70. Suzanne Lemons, she wore the white printed tank and printed two-tier tennis skirt in this light purple color. There were a lot more options for the ladies here that we did not see at this US Open within this collection, so for my female viewers, definitely tap into Mizuno. This is not sponsored, by the way, I'm just telling y'all. Now for us fellas, Mizuno didn't do us too well. I was not too impressed with what they had for the men. The guys wore Mizuno's men's shadow graphic top and this citrus orange color, and I'm quite simply just not a fan. It looks a little bit cheap, and I'm not a fan of the color. It just looks dated overall. But Mizuno, the ladies knocked it out of the park. The men's, not a huge fan. Now, this year's US Open saw another athleisure brand enter the chat, which is none other than Vuori, and Jack Draper, their new big star, turned a lot of heads with their look. And Draper's move from Nike to Vuori, it caused quite a bit of fanfare. This tank top that he wore, it's gray in the front and more of like an off-white in the back, and his shorts also had color blocking with different colors like gray, light green, and white. I liked it. You know, I think it's a cool fit. I would wear it, to be honest. Well, I don't know if I'd have the body for it, for the tank top, but the shorts are cool, and I think it's overall pretty different, I think. Vuori kind of gives me, like, surfer dude vibes, so for this to be their first look, I think this is a good indication of what's to come. Now, some of y'all might not know this, but Katie Bignali, she is also a Vuori-sponsored athlete, a WTA player, and she wore their a dark green tank and skirt, monochrome look. I like the color and how it pops on the blue and green US Open court. A hit for me. Another newer entrant into the tennis fashion world has been Cycle Bunny, and they have been impressing me since their inception, and they continue to impress me with this US Open collection, I'd say. Alexei Poprin, he wore their US Open Avery Net Performance tee, and it's kind of H2O inspired to me. Like, it has an aqua print wave design. Same with the shorts, the light blue aqua shorts. Being honest, it's not my favorite Poprin Cycle Bunny look, but it's still a definite hit. I liked it. Next, Artur Rinderknech, he, as always, keeps it nice and simple with this collared shirt and shorts combo. I really like this lighter blue, and the navy and pink accents on the collar and sleeves also look good. And I love the navy shorts, which complements the fit so well, and it also has accents of the lighter blue of the shirt as well as the pink. I love this outfit. It's one of my favorites of the tournament for sure. It's classic. What is there to hate about it? Like, it's so good. Now, an outfit that was not so good was Barbora Krejcikova's head dress. Krejcikova went back to head around Roland Garros. She switched from Fila, and that's a mistake to me because this was one of the worst looks of the tournament. It kind of gave like potato sack. It's not a diss on Krejcikova at all. I'm not trying to diss her body. That's not the problem. It's just the dress. It wouldn't look good on anyone, really. Like, I don't know what it is. It's just, no, like, they didn't really try. I feel Head didn't try with the tailoring of this fit. This look does kind of remind me of an older Fila look, Sofia Kenin's 2021 Australian Open outfit, but this is far inferior to what Kenin wore there. Priscilla Hahn, moving on, the Australian, she wore the Upside, which is an active wear brand, and she wore a few iterations of this nice pleated dress, which she has wore a few times throughout the year, but she wore it in burgundy, yellow, and navy blue. I think I might like that mustard yellow the most. A hit for me. Then Yuri Lehechka, I'm kind of doing rapid round now for the more individual looks. He wore Lacoste Sportif. It's a simple monochrome fit, but I enjoy this dark blue color, another underrated brand. Moving on. under Rublev. He also wore blue with this Rublo look. And this indigo navy blue ensemble is pretty clean. I also think the neon yellow complements it well. I wish Andre's clothes weren't so baggy, but I guess it's his signature style at this point. It's a hit. Taylor Fritz with Boss. It's the same old, black shirt with beige, black, and white lines on the side. The all black look is nothing too special, but still clean. You can't go wrong with all black. It's a hit, I guess. I'll give him a bone. Then another Taylor Townsend. She has been repping her own brand really since Roland Garros. I think it's called TT brand, but she collabed with designer Alexander Jean with the design of these fits, and she had 3 kit themes based on affirmations coming into this tournament. For her first round singles match, she wore this TT Rex kit to pay homage to her son who loves dinosaurs. I love this look. This is probably my favorite look that she wore from the US Open. I think the claw slashes all around on the sleeves as well as on like the waistband of the skirt look nice, and overall the colors, they match the tournament. And they match the court to a T, so this is one of the best looks for sure. Taylor also sported a light blue top of this for a few of her doubles matches. I would have liked to see this, maybe her skirt in a light blue, but I still think the white is just fine. It still looks good. For Taylor's second round singles match, she wore her Forge in the Fire dress. Now, being honest, I didn't care too much for this dress initially. The flame design looked a tad cheap to me initially, but Alexander did say on his Instagram that it was difficult because the flames were all hand cut. So I'll give him some grace for that. But the dress is definitely iconic, especially from that Ostapenko moment that she had wearing this dress. And I also like the story from the kit, as it represents Taylor's rise from the ashes after she was shamed for her size and her comeback from having a baby and returning to the court. So I like how it told a story too. For Taylor's third round singles match, she continued to play on that Forge and the Fire theme, wearing a long sleeve black cropped shirt with a fire bubble skirt. And I like this look more than the Forge and the Fire dress, to be honest. So that's a hit for me. And then for her fourth round singles match, she wore a white version of that Forge and the Fire dress, but instead she brought back that T-Rex theme, having like T-Rex marks on it. I definitely prefer her initial crop top T-Rex fit, but it's still a solid fit. But Taylor, got to give her props, man, for doing her thing for her own clothing brand. She definitely turned a lot of heads in a good way for this year's US Open, so she gets a hit overall for me. Venus Williams, she also had a few fashion moments, and she turned her 25th US Open appearance into New York Fashion Week. She rocked various brands, all different types of brands in her different appearances. First, for her mixed doubles match, she wore a custom look by New York fashion house Kayate, and it's this navy dress with cap sleeves and an open back, and she also had a white trim along the sleeves. This look to me was very reminiscent of Venus's 2014 Miami Open look as far as just the cut of it. I like it. Now, Venus's look for her first round singles match, it kind of inspired this actual outfit that I'm wearing right now. It's from ERL, and it's seemingly inspired by Althea Gibson. 75 years ago, Althea broke the color barrier in tennis at the US Open, or back then it was called the US National Championship. So love this look from Venus and her paying homage to Althea. And I think it's very fitting because Venus was the first, like in the open era at least, the first black woman to be world number 1. And Althea was, open era aside, was the best black woman for a long time. So to me, it was the visual representation of how Althea opened the doors for Venus, who then opened the doors for so many other talented black female tennis players and just black players overall. But focusing back on the look, it was a custom white ERL polo with a matching pleated skirt and visor. And the look was also completed with a hand-aged ERL shearling tennis bag, which is like furry, and it featured a leather strap and silver ERL hardware. Definitely an iconic look. Now, looking more at Venus's doubles looks, for her first round doubles match, she actually wore an clearance under $50 H&M dress with a single slit on the left. The star here was the accessories, because first she wore a rhinestone coated visor, but the real star was the custom red Philip Leem bomber jacket, which complemented the fit very well. And it also featured hand embroidered crystal initials on the sleeves. Venus really did not come to play this year for the US Open. For Venus' second round doubles match, she wore Who Decides Vuori, which is a New York-based black-owned fashion brand founded in 2018. This custom spandex mesh dress is studded with leather and also has parallel lines of embellishments all up there. And it is likely inspired by Who Decides Vuori's Spring-Summer 2025 collection. And I just like how they mix sport with high fashion here. Another iconic look. And this is definitely Venus's freakum dress. But Venus just kept the designer looks coming, man. For her third round match, she wore custom Emilio Pucci with a matching silk tie visor. It also features a flared silhouette designed in Pucci's Labyrinto print with a scalloped hemline accompanied by a matching visor with the same abstract print. Venus. She, again, did not come to play. And then finally, last but not least, for her quarterfinals doubles match, Venus wore an all-black fit from New York-based brand Loire. It's a merino wool dress with a pleated skirt. It's cool. She also wore an interesting Loire jacket to match for her Stars of the Open appearance. A lot of looks there from Venus, but pretty much all of them were hits. No misses to me. That is all I have for my US Open fashion review video. I say overall the brands didn't do too bad. They didn't do too bad. Going back over my top looks for the men, I'd say my top men's looks were from first Artur Minicek, then Carlos Alcaraz, Lorenzo Musetti, Novak Djokovic, and Andre Rublev. And then for the women, I'll do Venus, specifically her ERL Gibson inspired fit, then Coco Gauff, her day outfit, Dama Galfi and Mizuno, Serrano Cirstea, New Balance, and then Taylor Townsend and that T-Rex crop top look. For worst, I'll go Mizuno men, Danielle Altmaier, really most of Yonex, unfortunately, Barbora Krejcikova in Head, and then Maria Sakkari in Adidas. Feel free, of course, to drop your favorite and least favorite fits in the comments, and feel free to drop some other brands that I missed. I did intentionally miss EA7, specifically the men, because I had already covered that in my US Open lead-up fashion video. So if you're wondering where a few looks were, some of them were in that video, which was posted about a month ago. So tune into that one if you're interested. Again, make sure you subscribe and click that notification bell so you are notified whenever I post more fun content like this. Thank you all so much for watching and for your support, and I will see you all next time here on Christian's Court.